Hi, this is Tim, and welcome to episode 1 of the Tim Wilborne podcast. Today, we're going to talk about what does it actually take to break into the industrial automation market. And we're not even going to talk about like all encompassing how do you get into and have a job and be successful and have 10 kids. We're mainly going to talk in this one is how do you just wedge your foot in the door? This is a pilot episode. We're playing with the idea of making podcasts. And so one, I want your opinion. What do you think of this? Also, we got to get our opinion. Do we like making these? And there's a few reasons we're doing this. As one, we get several hundred questions a week that are really good now. And it's becoming the point we just can't answer them all. So I'm hoping to really take and hit some of the really good, important questions on here where one, instead of individually talking to people, maybe we can have a big conversation, which obviously means that you're probably getting better input than just talking to me. And a few other things. First, I have Michael sitting here just ridiculously staring at me, like right here, who's going to probably be giving his 2 cents every 5 minutes. He already has before we've started this. And so I'm not going to edit this. This will be very unedited, so apologize for if I scream at him, throw something at him, or anything like that. But yeah, he's going to give his 2 cents. But my goal here is really I'm getting my day started. I'm drinking a cup of coffee, and I just want to talk through some of the questions that come up. And I don't know, what should we call this? 2 cent coffee and automation advice? I don't know. So let me know what your thoughts are on that. But all right, so I do have a few notes here, and I'm going to check them off as we go. Probably the biggest thing that I really want to do in this, there's a lot of good podcasts out there. So I don't ever like to copy someone's content. And in fact, I'll go ahead and throw out a few podcasts in manufacturing. I like Chris Lukey at Manufacturing Happy Hour. That's a great one. Talks about a lot of new and upcoming things. You got Ray and Allison over at Manufacturing Out Loud. They're another really good one that, really helps, answer a lot of things about manufacturing. But the one thing I think that we do not talk about enough, as I'll say people on the success end of this, is our failures. In other words, what mistakes did we make on the way that actually got us here? We love to brag that, oh yeah, well, I had this project and it went this well, and we do this now. But yeah, what horrific mistakes, failures, and really abuse from maybe customers and other people did we take on the way to get here? That's kind of our goal here, is to be a little bit different. Please, guys, ask plenty of questions, and that because your questions are going to be what makes up these topics that we're going to talk about. Also, yes, I had somebody the other day say that I needed to stop saying guys when I'm talking to you, because guys is not gender neutral. And I apologize if I have offended anybody by using the term guys. It's just a term I use for people. So what should I use? Let's see, I'm actually in Virginia. So I guess the gender neutral term here would be y'all, but I never say y'all. So that one wouldn't work. And I guess if we were further north or over west, it would be folks. But I don't use that term either. So I don't know. What do you want to be called? How about control freaks? Would that work? Could we all call ourselves control freaks? So put it down in the comments what you think there. My only thing is I will not call you industrial sorcerers. I reserve the right to that term. That one is mine. But all right. One other thing before we get started is please, whatever platform you are using, hit that like button, subscribe if there is a subscribe button, and give us a 5-star rating, to tell us that you like what we're doing. And yeah, give us a little review there. But okay, we're talking today about really breaking into the industrial automation market. And all right, the first question I always get is, one, do I need a college degree, and is college enough? Because, okay, first, do I need a college degree? We have that one, and then of course we get over here that people have gotten a college degree and all of a sudden they're like, oh my goodness, I still can't get a job because I don't have any experience. So my comment to college is very important. It is great for helping you get in the door. Now, if you think that you're going to sit in front of a class and in 4 years know enough to really go out there and get in the trenches, no, it doesn't work that way. And There is just no substitute for real world experience. In other words, when you're in a classroom, you're learning about really, hopefully the latest and greatest. Well, when you get out into a plant, you're not learning about the latest and greatest anymore. You may be working in a 40-year-old plant, and you may be working with a different software, and you may be working with different manufacturers. So really, all the college is going to do is help you get in the door. It's not the cure-all to make you have a happy life and you have 10 kids on down the road. But all right, how do we gain that experience after we have it? People, in fact, every engineer will hit the skip button for the next minute when I say this. But absolutely, positively, the best way to gain experience once you get your foot in the door, or we're starting to get that wedge, is to work maintenance. Because until you see why the heck we need to do this crazy way to actually design something, when it seems like we got 10 extra steps, until you have to work on it, you're not going to understand that. So college is very important for getting you in the door. But again, it's only one way to get in the door. And so today what I want to do is I really want to talk about another important way to get in the door. And really all it does require is honesty and confidence. And really, if there's any two skills you absolutely need, it is honesty and confidence. With those two skills, I firmly believe you can learn anything. So one thing before we go too much further is, we need to define a few things, is how long does it actually take, we'll say, to become proficient? And we need to define proficient first, because I watch a lot of people's, talking about what it takes to get in our industry, and they're like, yeah, it takes a good solid 2 years, but if you work really hard, for 2 years, then you'll become something in this. I don't think it takes that long. Now, it may take 2 years to really become good at the trade, but where I say you become proficient or become an integral part or a cog in this industrial automation thing, for a better term, is when your employee makes more than he puts out for you. When you get to that break-even point, I believe that you're an integral part of this. And I don't think it takes that long. Honestly, I think if you have heart, and gosh, Michael, you quit playing with that thing over there. As I got Michael sitting here staring at me doing all these things, and I'm trying my best to keep on task. But all right, what was I saying before that, Michael? You done got me all messed up here.
Should have kept on talking.
Yeah. Well, you should have been sitting there playing with that thing. And that's one thing I think I will need some guests on here. Maybe it is Michael, but Michael has schoolwork to do. So I don't know that he's always going to be available. Plus, my coffee's getting cold. And the whole point is I'm supposed to be drinking my coffee and talking about something. So I need somebody else to be here so I can drink my coffee. But okay, where were we at before Michael just grossly interrupted us, as I don't truly remember.
Never represent yourself as something that you are not.
Oh, yeah, that's a great statement. Never represent yourself as something that you're not, because that's really what we're talking about here is, okay, yeah, I was saying that mainly you need honesty and confidence. And yeah, don't go in there and be like, yes, I have 10 years of experience and I'm only 18. Unless you're Michael and actually you've been working in this since really he was about 2, you're not going to get away with that. So just go in there and ask, hey, I really am curious about this. I really think I would be good at it, and I need somebody to give me a chance. And okay, rewinding a little bit, is going back to the do we need a college degree? As I get so many people that are like, hey, I don't have a college degree and this company requires a college degree. Okay, well first there's two pieces of this. Is first, maybe the company firmly requires a college degree and that is what it is. You've got to respect them. If they say they require a college degree and that is firm, then it's firm. But also, go ahead and fill the application out. Because I find so many times I told guys to do this. Sorry, there goes that guy's term again. I tell people to do that and just put down no college. I have this experience and I'm willing to learn. And I think that last sentence is so important I am willing to learn. And so many of them end up getting hired and they're shocked. They're like, oh, I just got into this job and I didn't meet the requirements. Well, the requirements are just there to kind of help vet. I mean, really, in the end, I think most employers would agree, if you have somebody with a willingness to learn, that beats any amount of experience. But okay, so we've wedged our way in maybe, the next thing that is probably very important along with that is having the right employer. In other words, we can't do this with every employer. One, because some employers just have a very rigid structure, and when usually it's a larger company, you just end up in some funnel, and that's where you are. That probably wouldn't work well for this. But if you have an employer that one sees your willingness to learn and is willing to nurture that, then you probably have a winning combination. And I'm going to give a couple examples here that I think really emphasize what a good employer is and what a bad employer is. Although I'd say that the good example is about me, and it was a good employer because it was my dad. Now, my dad didn't do this to me, but they were having a meeting with all the employees, and they said, hey guys, you've got to start reporting your time better, because if you don't report your time that you worked 2 hours on this project or whatever, we can't bill the employee. And that's a very important part. You got to keep track of what you're doing. That way you can bill it, make some money, pay your employees. That's very important. So, they really came out and they said, you're here 8 hours and you're working 8 hours, then there ought to be 8 hours of billable time. Well, at that point, I was more of just driving around, grabbing parts, helping out where I could, cut some material, do some things, but I definitely was not making 8 hours of production. And so I went to the guy who was not my dad and said, I only have like 2 hours of billable hours for today. What do I do? What should I put down for the rest? And he said, oh, well, you and such and such and such and such, you guys are just dead weight. We don't bill for you. You have no real value to the company, and so don't worry about it. And man, you want to talk about just a confidence killer. One, it's a confidence killer to hear that, but also an attitude changer. In other words, going from, maybe I had an attitude of, I have an integral part of this company, or, I'm important to this company too. I am just dead weight and have no value. Well, first, I had extreme value to that company. And actually, hey, Michael, write this down. We should do one on how your delivery driver is the face of your company. Okay, I really was. I was picking up parts, delivering parts, and when I wasn't doing that, I was out trying to learn things in the shop. Okay, so I was the face of the company. So when I went and took a part to somebody, then, this right here, if you're in a podcast, you can't see me, but I'm pointing at myself. This is the face of the company. So how I act is the face of the company. So do you want somebody who is representing your company who thinks they're dead weight, or someone who thinks, hey, yeah, you're an important part of this company. Without you, really, your job is we need to get you to get the materials to the guys, and you need to deliver part to the customer and hopefully pick up more. Okay, I'm getting on a total rabbit trail because that would be a complete other episode, but I do see a lot of companies that need to realize that their delivery drivers are the front face of their company. But okay, so in the end, that guy could have done that completely different. So instead of saying, one, you're dead weight, you're worthless. What if he had said, well, right now, Tim, most of your hours are not billable. And that's because you don't have the skills yet to really be beneficial most of the time. That's why, we've got you out here. You are picking up parts, which is very important because, you make these rounds, you're picking up parts for 10 guys, you're keeping them at their machines, and you gather their parts up, you're delivering a very integral part. That way you can keep them in front of their machines, keeping them making money to bill you. But if you really want to become a more important part of this organization, then you need to learn to do this. That would have been so much different because then, okay, one, I do feel value, but also now I know that, okay, here's what I need to learn to get to the next step. And so I think that's important that you find that employer that is, one will tell you, hey, here's what you've got to do to get to the next step. But also, on the flip side is if they're not, can you ask them, hey, right now, I'm making, I don't know, maybe you're making $8 an hour, $10 an hour, whatever, driving around doing this, what can I do to learn so that I can become a better employee for you, and hopefully I can make a little more money in the process. And if you have an employer that says, oh, you can just, blah, blah, just keep driving. No, that's probably a horrible employer. But you'll find most employers will tell you, hey, why don't you, start doing such and such. And also that, that's not just necessarily the employer. So a lot of times, I'd get a part. Maybe I was just getting a raw piece of steel for somebody. They needed to machine it. And I'd come back and I'd take it to them and they'd be like, all right, I'm not ready for that yet, but thanks. Okay, can I do anything to help you get this part ready for the next job? Because obviously chances are I bought, I don't know, a 10-foot stick of something and they only needed 4 foot of it. Can I take it to saw and cut it to length for you? And they'll just be delighted because they're kind of set up on their machine. They really don't want to go off and cut a piece of steel. But okay, when you show that, hey, can I help you? Then they're going to be willing to help you. And they're also going to be willing for you to look over their shoulder. And that probably is one of the best on-the-job trainings is when you can, hey, well, what exactly are you doing there? Why do you do that? And so those are the important things to really, get you, down the path of really learning. And then, of course, once you gain a little bit more skill, you can gain a little bit more pay, and also you can gain, a little more knowledge, and then you can keep on. And that's really how you can build your skills up. But okay, we talked about the bad example. I also want to share a good example of where I really think someone showed that they were a good boss or a very good leader. This was not me, but it was somebody I worked with. They burned up a very, very expensive part when they were replacing it on a machine. So the machine was broke, they replaced the part and immediately burned it up. And it was like 3 months of their pay. So first they called the vendor and said, this has just happened. What did I do wrong or what's going on here? And the vendor was not actually on the up and up, I will say that. Which, hey, Michael, that's another one. We should talk about vendors sometime. Put that down. What's a good vendor, what's a bad vendor? Because vendors can make or break you too. But okay, but the vendor kind of gave him a honest line that really pointed all the blame on the employee that, hey, here's where you totally screwed up. And that's why you just burn up this part that, cost you 3 months of your salary. And the guy, he could have made up any story about what had gone wrong to keep him from taking the blame. But he went into the boss's office and said, hey, I just burnt that part up. The machine is still down and we're going to need another part. And here's why I burned it up. And the boss looked at him and said, well, did you learn anything? And he said, yeah, I did. I understand how to do it next time so it won't happen again. I said, okay, go ahead and order another one. I mean, and what a great boss, because he could have chewed his head off. He could have been like, that's 3 months of your salary. Do you realize that? I mean, he could have done anything. But his main thing was, can we do better the next time? And did we learn anything? Yeah, okay, that was 3 months of salary, but also we have a machine down now that's probably got 100 people slowed up or standing around. I guess that's more expensive than 3 months of his salary. And so, but he had the insight to realize the value, one, of on-the-job training. And also, this boss at the same time, if there was a way that you could get trained or learn more, then he was all for it. And that would be the other thing is, if your employee, if you go to an employer, and I shouldn't say this, but I've had a lot of people end up realizing they need to quit their job over this. But, we also sell trainers, if you didn't realize that. But I get an individual calling and being like, hey, I want to buy one of your trainers. And it's almost always, I hate to say this, but it's somebody who's really trying to better themselves, and chances are they have a kid on the way. There is some life-changing event, and they have identified that they have to make more money. They have to improve their skills, and they'll be like, "I want to buy your trainer," and I should sell. I mean, I guess as a money-making person, I should sell them the trainer, but usually I talk them out of it. And I always tell them, go talk to your employer. Tell them you need to learn this skill so that you can better your family. And it's also going to add value to you as an employee. And 75% of the time, the employer will purchase the equipment for you. Now, that other 25%, usually the employee figures out that they're in a bad job. They're in a job that really the employee is satisfied with them being who they are, where they are, and there's no opportunity for advancement. And I mean, that's a tough place to be. And I will say, get out of it as soon as you can. So really, what have we talked about? Because really today we're just trying to wedge in. We're not even talking about how we're gonna, get into this grand automation thing. Is okay, how do we just wedge our foot in the door? And so the big thing is, being, what did you say? Honesty and what? Honesty and
confidence.
Yeah. So have honesty and confidence. Gosh, confidence. And yes, honesty. And then find the right employer. And those two things together can probably do more than a 4-year degree can to get you started in industrial automation. So what did you think of this episode? Honestly, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I see, way too much. I'm about to work on that. And there we go again. But yeah, this is very unscripted, and I need a partner because my coffee has definitely gotten cold during this. There we go, yeah. So lukewarm coffee now. So now it's 1 cent coffee in automation advice, I guess. But yeah, so what did you think of it? What topics would you like to see? Do you like the format? Obviously, we don't have a lot of props, although you can, and I even kind of set myself where I'm kind of away from where we normally are on the videos. Is this beneficial to you? Is this something that you see value in? And yeah, anybody want to talk with me? Because yeah, my coffee got cold. So again, please hit all those like, stars, and all the other things that you may be listening to this on, and put your thoughts down in the comments. Until next time.
Subscribe to Tim Wilborne on YouTube.
Oh, what if they're not coming to me from YouTube? Well, he is right, guys. If you're out here and podcast land on Spotify, I like Spotify. That's probably so it'll definitely be there. But wherever you're coming to me from, did you know I have a YouTube channel? And we put out how-to videos weekly where we actually show things and have props and hopefully teach you some stuff to help you get into industrial automation. Good job, Michael.
Till next time.
Till next time. Hi, this is Tim.
And this is Amber of TW Controls. We run the automation store. Hey, thanks for finding our channel.
Here's a playlist with some similar videos.
And YouTube thinks you'll like this video.
Please like our video and subscribe to our channel.
And if our videos have helped you make some money and you're not using our products, please consider supporting us on Patreon.
Till next time.
See ya!